Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Snapple. Want to know another Snapple fact? The first hot air balloon passengers were a sheep, a duck, and a rooster. Ridiculous. Check out Snapple.com to find ridiculously flavored Snapple near you.
Welcome to Midwife Pip Podcast Bitesize, your weekly dose of all things pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and women's health, to help support you towards a better journey. These episodes are snapshots from previous episodes on the podcast to make sure you have all those golden nuggets of information that you need. And remember, if you're feeling like you would benefit from working with me and having more one-to-one support on your journey, drop me a message at midwife_pip on Instagram so we can chat about how I support women at this time in their lives and may be able to help you too.
You are pregnant, and just like that, your body starts undertaking a huge physiological and psychological change. I think sometimes that we as women forget that during pregnancy, your entire system is adapted as your body focuses on growing a new little human being. Parts become stretched, weakened, and shifted as your little one thrives and develops. Then there is the matter of childbirth, and regardless of how this may happen for you, it's a momentous time and arguably the biggest challenge your body will ever undergo. But you can't just put your feet up and recover as a new mum. You have a baby to care for, and you are often sleep deprived. And so all too often, the incredible journey your body and mind have been on get forgotten, and your nurturing and healing are neglected. But on this week's episode, I am joined by an amazing guest, specialist women's health physiotherapist, mum, and now author, Emma Brockwell. Emma's a woman on a mission to empower and inform women about the changes taking place in the pregnant and postpartum body, and to support them on a journey to recovery in the right way. Women have for far too many years thought that many embarrassing or unpleasant conditions relating to women's health were normal and something we should just put up with. But the good news is that they are absolutely not. And Emma believes that all women should be informed and empowered with tools to look after and nurture their amazing bodies throughout pregnancy and motherhood. Emma Brockwell is a specialist pelvic health physiotherapist. She treats women of all ages with all women's health-related conditions. She's passionate about pre- and postnatal rehabilitation and exercise, and specialises in enabling women back to exercise, particularly running, if they have any pelvic health dysfunction or are postnatal. She has co-authored the first Returning to Running postnatal guidelines and has spoken about this subject at many medical and exercise conferences. Emma's written for many magazines, including Women's Running and Women's Health magazine, and has a book out in February 2021 called Why Did No One Tell Me? How to Heal, Protect and Nurture Your Body Through Motherhood. Emma founded and leads a walk and running club, Oxted Ladies Running Club. She is the co-founder of Pelvic Raw, a physiotherapy-led collaboration aiming to promote and unite all things pelvic health. She's also on the advisory board for the Active Pregnancy Foundation and is an associate member to the Perinatal Physical Activity Research Group. She now works privately in Surrey and London and is the co-presenter of a new podcast called At Your Cervix.
I think the big thing with pelvic floor exercises is the ideal would be that we're doing our pelvic floor exercises before we fall pregnant. That's the dream, and I think that comes on about how we educate girls from a younger age. But if you are pregnant, your pelvic floor will lengthen because of the weight on your system. As you say, it's a muscle that we don't really tap into that much until this time in our life. If you are having a vaginal birth or a C-section, your pelvic floor will be affected just by the changes that occur during pregnancy and certainly after pregnancy as well. So like any other muscle, if you don't use it, it's not going to work as well as it could. And the pelvic floor, gosh, it has so many roles. It stops us leaking poo, stops us leaking wee. It's a muscle that helps in sexual function as well. So a good, strong pelvic floor can mean that you have a better sex life as well. It's a muscle that's the bottom of our core, so it can help in activating the tummy muscles, the deep back muscles, and potentially helping reduce low back pain and pelvic pain during pregnancy. It's a supportive muscle, and when you're pregnant and all other muscles are lengthening and weakening, it's just a muscle that can just help unite that whole muscular system, which is just so essential with all of those changes occurring. It's also a muscle that supports your pelvic organs, so your bladder, your bowel, your uterus. So if you've got a strong working muscle there, those functions are going to be better supported. And as I say, that functioning is happening pre-pregnancy, but it's also then going to happen postnatally after we've birthed. It's a muscle that's going to be traumatized no matter how you birth. So therefore, we know from the evidence that the stronger your pelvic floor is prenatally or even during pregnancy, then the better it's going to rehabilitate postnatally. We see lots of common issues, pelvic floor dysfunction occurring during this perinatal time. So you might be leaking urine, you might feel heaviness in your vaginal area, you might feel bulging in the vaginal area, you might have problems controlling your bowels as well. And all of those issues, those pelvic floor dysfunctional issues, they can be certainly reduced or improved with pelvic floor exercises, or we might even be able to prevent those issues occurring. So I think when it comes to pelvic health, we've got to think more down the preventative route. And I much prefer seeing women certainly just as they fall pregnant, so we can start them on their pelvic health journey, so that postnatally I'm not seeing them again and hearing, oh, but I'm leaking urine now. There's no guarantee that doing your pelvic floor exercises is going to stop that, but it might just reduce the chances of that happening. So yeah, it's a really important muscle, and it's just one of those muscles that isn't the most exciting to exercise, but it's such a good thing to do if you can get into your pelvic floor exercises. So start doing them now, Pippa.
Yeah, okay, noted. I'm on it. And hopefully everyone's on it with me who's listening as well. And that's a really good point, though, Emma, that you say, in that we really need to be doing them for life, don't we? It isn't just for now. It really is something we need to do for life. And although they might not be the most thrilling and exciting thing to do, I mean, so much rather invest time while you're watching the telly doing your pelvic floors than having to deal with the symptoms of things like incontinence and prolapse later on, because that is a lot more tedious and frustrating than just doing your pelvic floors.
Yeah, and there was a time when we weren't particularly good with our dental hygiene, so we didn't brush our teeth twice a day. But I'd like to think most of us do that now.
I do that, yeah.
Yeah, good, excellent. So do I. And, I think if you can kind of get it into your daily routine, or, part of your self-care routine, honestly, once you've cracked them, you can really get on with your pelvic floor exercises. They take a few minutes, and the benefits of doing them far outweigh the pain of doing them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. What can we do to help us remind ourselves, Emma? Is there apps that we can use, or little aid memoirs that can be quite helpful just to install it in our routine, really?
Yeah. I mean, I often just signpost patients to the Squeezy app. I just think it's the best app out there, really.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's about $2.99. It's NHS endorsed. It's actually created by a really good friend of mine, Myra Robson, and her team. And, if you just want it on your phone for nothing more than just to remind you to do your pelvic floor exercises, it can ping a reminder up. Or you can use it as a means of a bit of biofeedback, so you can watch the actual diagram or the picture on it getting more orange or more green, and then you'll know when to contract and relax your pelvic floor. So that's kind of my favourite one. It's the Squeezy app. You can, of course, pop Post-it notes up if you really want to, just to remind you. I have lots of women that will do their pelvic floor exercises when they're making a cup of tea or brushing their teeth. What I would say is, when you're using it within function, your pelvic floor wants to be, you know, pretty strong, working at a pretty good level to just start exercising it. Sometimes when you start exercising it, you do need to sit down, you do need to think about it and dedicate some time to it. But once it becomes part of your routine, you can certainly do it whilst you're doing something else, so that it doesn't seem like another chore. But I think these apps like the Squeezy app are really good triggers, just if nothing else, to remind you to do it. So I would start there first and foremost.
That's amazing advice. And I suppose it's quite useful to be able to later on, when you have started to train your pelvic floor and strengthen it, to be able to do it while you're doing other tasks, because your pelvic floor needs to be strong while you're doing other things and carrying on with your day-to-day life. I'm assuming, Emma, that most women probably don't have symptoms when they are sat down watching telly. It's more likely when they're moving around or walking and things. So we need to make sure it's functional throughout that whole range, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. The only time I wouldn't suggest that you do pelvic floor exercises, however, is...
I hope you found that bite-sized episode really insightful. To listen to it in full, go to the description and visit that episode on whatever platform you're listening on. One last thing before you go. As a listener, really help make this podcast successful. I would appreciate if you could subscribe and leave a quick review. Something so little means so much to me and will help so many women's lives.